Hiya and welcome to Oliver's Woodcraft. Today I'm going to show you how to build a backboard for a dartboard. I've got one for myself in the pub at the back of my barn and I think it looks great, so I just wanted to show you how I build them. You can look on my Etsy shop to see how much I sell them for. You can see my other products on there as well. I'm going to show you today in a really raw format. So I'm going to show you how to strip the pallet, denail it, cut to size, and then build the product and give it a stain as well. So it's really raw, no fast forwarding, no music, no nothing like that, just as raw as it comes really. All I'm going to do is change the angle on the camera as I do the different sections. So from stripping the pallet to cutting to size and then me building obviously. So yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't take too long and you'll be able to see the whole build literally from start to finish and maybe give it a go yourself if you've got a barn or a pub or anything like that in your garden or at home. Then yeah, hopefully you might give it a go yourself. So without further ado, I'm going to start stripping these pallets down and denailing. Right, so obviously first and foremost, there was a bit of an issue with the microphone on the previous section, me stripping the pallet, which is why you can probably see me talking, but there's music playing over it. Anyway, try again with talking in the actual microphone with it working, hopefully. So obviously I've stripped the pallet, I've got my bits ready now, I've got the sides of the framework ready to go, and obviously the actual slats through the middle of the frame as well. So I've just got to denail all that and then be ready to start cutting to size. So these are really quite easy to take the nails out of these particular pallet strips. Obviously some pallets, as you'll know, some of you know if you've stripped a pallet before, some of the big Euro pallets and all that are really quite time consuming. These are not too bad at all. So these are all just heat treated pallets, which means there's been no chemicals used to protect them or anything like that. So when I'm sanding them, obviously I'll use my extractor, so gets rid of dust at source, and then obviously I'll wear my mask as well. But it's not like cutting MDF or anything like that. It's no nasty chemicals involved. I need four sides. Sorry, 2 sides and 2 top bits. Oh, that one's already done. Right, so that's them done. And now it's the main back panels. So when this is done, it might inspire you to get a dartboard if you haven't got one already. If you have got a dartboard and it's got some crappy cabinet, you know the cabinets I'm talking about, the MDF, the crappy wood ones with a cheap chalkboard in there. I've got one at home in my garage myself, so I know exactly the ones I'm talking about. You could make a split that one. That's why you do a spare. You could actually make a cabinet to engulf it as well. Obviously, I'm just doing a really simple build here and a really simple backboard. You could make the equivalent of those cheap MDF crappy cabinets, but a really cool version of it. And obviously you can personalise them as well. So if you've got a name for your pub, like the old Duck or the Dog Inn or whatever it's called, the Dog Inn. Yeah, you can personalise it by stenciling the bottom of it, or if you've got an engraver, can do that as well. Pretty sure this is really annoying on camera, so feel free to fast forward this bit. But like I said, I just want to show you as raw as it comes today, and almost in real time how quick and easy it is to build this. Obviously some of the products I make take a couple of hours to do, so I'm not going to ever do kind of a long form real time 2-hour cut or anything. But with this particular project, because it's a relatively quick one, I thought it'd be cool to show you just how it's done in real time, just with a change of angle. But yeah, please let me know if it's too boring or it's too long, then yeah, just let us know. Obviously I'll change the format again, it's only like my 5th or 6th video. A couple have done really well, a couple have done nothing at all, so just trying to learn about the algorithm really from my end, see what works and what doesn't. Anyway, right, so they're all cut to size now. No, sorry, they're not cut to size. They're all denailed now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the backboard, and then the framework is there. So what I'm going to do now is cut them to size, but what I need to do first is measure the exact width, because I need the, excuse that noise, that was horrible, wasn't it? Just going to move this camera around a bit. Okay, so try and move it without disconnecting the mic this time. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is now measure up the width of it. So ideally I need it about between 67 and 70 centimetres, because once the framework's in place, obviously the dartboards, they've got to sit in the middle nicely with a little bit of an edge around it. So that is 66.5. So that is pretty much on the limit of what I would do. Like I said, between 67 and 70, so somewhere like that. But that does leave enough room for the dartboard still to sit in there nicely. So yeah, so that, what's that, 67.7, that is. It's not far off at all. So I know now, not scrap, that's for later. These are the ones I need. So 67.7, so I'm going to cut the top and the bottom now, 67.7, and then I'm going to cut these to size as well, so they should be 75 centimetres. At the moment they're 84, so just need to cut the ends off of them as well. Right, take those over to the saw, give them a cut. Right, tape measure would help, wouldn't it? Right, so I'm hoping that the mic is still working. If it's not, then this is just going to be muted and video will be, music will be playing over it. Obviously I'm going to put my mask on, FFP3 mask, which means it doesn't do a great deal when you've got a beard like mine. It should be nice and flush on your face. However, it's better than not having a mask at all. Right, so 67.7 was what I needed the ends to be. Sorry, the top and bottom to be. Just going to trim off the end first. And then measure 67.7 there. That's fine. Spot on, so just need another one of those. That's same size for the bottom. Right, so that's the top and the bottom fixings for the framework of it. Now I just need to cut the actual back panels down. Just gonna do 2 at a time, down to 75. All the tools I use, you can see on the list in the description as well. Okay, so there's the back panels, and then there's the top and the bottom, which I'm going to fix together now, and then we can do the edging of it as well. Right, so now they're all cut to size. I've got the back panels, they're already sanded, so I've saved you the noise from the sanding. But literally it's a few minutes work to get all those sanded nicely on the tops and the bottoms and the edges. And now I've just got to sand, just to show you what I was doing, the top and the bottom struts. So just going to do that quickly now, chuck my mask back on. And then what we'll do is start screwing the whole thing together. Okay, so now all the sanding's done. Take my mask off for a minute. Now all the sanding's done, I'm just going to align the bottom and the top using the struts. So that's good. Right, so I'm going to start with the bottom, get that fixed into place. Use that as the bottom bit, yeah. So I'm going to get that fixed into place now. So what I'll do is one end, obviously making sure it stays nice and aligned. Try not to jog it. So get one end in first. Nice and tight. And then obviously with the other end, just making sure it's still nice and aligned. No, start that again. Not happy with how I've just done that because the alignment's all out now. Never be afraid to show your mistakes. Because that's how we all learn, right? Right, okay, so start that again, nice and tight in there. And then same again on the other side. Just pulling that nice and tight as well. Cool, so that's the bottom strut done. Do exactly the same at the top, and then we can put all the other fixings in as well. So I can leave it here. So nice and aligned. Nice central screw. Nice and tight again. And then again at the top, it's a little bit easier because the bottom's already done. Don't forget you'll be sanding all the rough edges down, so if you've got an edge that's slightly pointing out, if you're a miscut, you can sand that down at the end, but it's not too bad at all. And that one, right. Obviously the two the two struts at the top and the bottom are screwed in nice and tight. And now it's a lot easier to do the rest. So just whiz through these ones. Just make sure your screw's nice and central for stability and for aesthetics. Feel that's going in really nice and tight. Starting to take shape now, isn't it? So after these are done, just got to do the beams on the left and the right, which will complete the framework. And then give it a good sand and then a stain really. So obviously pretty new to this in terms of the channel, the woodwork channel. It's going all right. I've had some views on some of the videos, and some of the videos not so great in terms of views and stuff, but part of the reason why I'm trying to do this. this raw video today is to try and see if it's what you guys want to see, rather than the fast forwarded stuff and loads of music over the top of it and stuff. So just want to see what works really. But yeah, please do comment, like and subscribe, because it helps the channel grow. And obviously in your comments, if you can be constructive and just let me know if it's something that you like to see me doing, or if you want the more fast forwarded, upbeat, fast paced videos, or a mixture. Yeah, all your comments are helpful and I do reply as well. So what we're going to do now is cut these beams to size and then give the whole thing a sand. So I'm just going to measure up what's needed here. So that is 60.5, should be about the same here. 60.8, there's a slight variation there. The 60.5 and 60.8, where's my mask? All right, let's get on, turn the camera around for a sec. There you go, don't want to miss a beat, do we? 60.5 and 60.8. Right, so I've just sanded, or cut and sanded, the two side struts down, so the framework can now be complete. So that's your 60.8 in there, and then the 60.5 in that side. And again, just going to use my 30mm screws. I'm going to do 4, so I'm going to do one at the bottom, obviously making sure it's all nice and aligned still, one at the top. And then do one 20 centimeters up. And one 20 centimeters down. And then exactly the same on the other side. One at the top, one at the bottom. So not only does this look great with the framework, obviously it's structurally integral to the build. Stops it moving around. And yeah, just looks fantastic as well. I just think the framework looks great. Almost looks like your dartboard's a picture when it's complete. Right, okay, so last screw in there, and that is the basic framework complete. So I'm just going to give that a really good thorough sand down now, and then a stain, and we're pretty much done. So yeah, bear with me while I just sand this down. I will whack some music over this just for a second, because it's not a nice sound on the microphone. If you're anything like me and you're watching videos at 4 or 5 in the morning of woodwork projects, and the sander comes on, the house wakes up. Bear with me a second. Right, so that is your framework of the dartboard complete. Obviously, dartboard is going to go central, bang in the middle there, and look absolutely fantastic. What I'm going to do now is stain it with a medium oak wood stain, just to bring out all the lovely colours of the wood, and it will show up the grain lovely as well. So I'm going to put it on my bench over here, I think. The easiest way to do it, so I can get the edges done and all that as well. So just going to plonk it on there, change the camera around. I'll be back in a sec. So, like I said, I'm going to now use a medium oak wood stain. It's just a basic Johnston's medium oak, natural oak wood stain for interior or exterior use. So if you've got an outdoor, like man cave with an open entrance and stuff, it'll be all right during those colder, wetter months. Obviously, ideally not getting it wet too much because it will rot over time. But yeah, for internal use, it's absolutely perfect. So yeah, just going to give that a good stain now. I know you're not going to be able to see my face when I'm talking, but wanted to get the angle of me staining it in there perfectly. So you don't need too much, to be honest, and one little dip in there can cover quite a big area. So what I tend to do in my staining is give it a really good coat first, and then go over it once more at the end, just to make sure it's nice and even and there's no drips, etc. So yeah, like I said earlier in the video, if there is any other builds that you want me to do, or if you have a look on anything on my Etsy page at Oliver's Woodcraft shop and you think, oh, that looks good, how's he built that, or what's his design process, anything like that at all that can help me create some more content for people to see, I'd really appreciate your comments and feedback. Obviously, what the idea for this channel is for me long term is for me to do more builds and earn some money from YouTube, so that others can build them for themselves rather than me selling on the shop, which obviously is my passion, and I love speaking to customers and giving them advice and things on what they can do in terms of bespoke measurements, or what I can do for them with bespoke measurements. And if they come up with ideas, it's great through the shop that I can create new products. But it'd be really nice for me to use this workshop as more of a like a studio sort of thing. That's the idea long term, but obviously it's going to take a long time to get to that point. I know how long it can take for YouTube to people to grow a channel on YouTube. It's why most people give up with it, I think. But yeah, hopefully we keep putting out this content, people will start to pick up on me as a person and what I do in the workshop here. I'm based in Kent, so Kent in England. I don't know where you guys are watching from. Just give us a comment if you want from where you're watching from. Yeah, I'm based in Kent in southeast England, and the workshop I've built up to get this big workshop. For a year or so I was working out of a shed on the same farm. It just had one power point in the corner, and it was basically a derelict old shed, but I wanted somewhere to work away from my garage at home, where I was getting a couple of complaints for noise and stuff, because I was working till like 10, 11 at night sometimes with power tools and stuff. So fair enough, got a couple of complaints, so stopped doing that, and yeah, come up here in the shed where I had a storage container on the farm. I was using that to store all my wood and keep it dry and secure. And yeah, spoke to the farmer and said, like, have you got anything available that I can work in? And he sort of pointed at the derelict old shed and said, it's going to be there for a while yet before they tear it down. Do you want to work in there for a little bit extra a month? So I said, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with just the one power point, it wasn't ideal, but with an extension that you couldn't sort out. So there I was, me and Radio 2 for the best part of a year in a derelict old shack. And then yeah, this opportunity came up across the yard to take on this barn. And yeah, obviously it's much bigger and drier for a start. And obviously I got rid of my storage container then. And so I store everything in here now. Built a pub at the end as well. So it's like a pub within a barn, which is cool, which is where this dartboard is at the moment. yeah, so obviously just making sure you're following the grain, making sure there's no drips in the screw holes, etc. And where you've taken the nails out, obviously there's the natural dips in the wood, which I think adds amazing amount of character to it as well. Okay, so I think that's the internals. Just getting those corners there. Always the tricky bits in the corners, but as long as you're consistent with your finish in terms of doing it against the grain, once you've dabbed it, dab into the corners and then just go against the grain, go with the grain again. That's that done. So I think I'm happy with that. I'm just going to do the edges now. So yeah, anyway, so now I'm in this bigger barn, been here for a few years now, and it stores my wood. Obviously I work in here, I built the pub. It's just a much nicer, warmer place to be, and it backs onto a lovely wheat field as well. So actually you can see in the light that that's not completely done. It's always good to look at it from all different angles, because sometimes if you're in light, like me, I've got a light coming through the top of the barn, which is natural light through the perspex window, and then I've got the normal lights on as well. So it's always good to look at it from different angles, and then you can see where it might need a tiny bit more of a touch up, etc. So yeah, long may this continue really, in terms of being in this environment, because I was in retail for the best part of 20 years, which I grew to I just hated it in the end, to be honest, and hope I never have to go back into that environment. Something about people these days that seems to have changed over the last 10-15 years, or maybe it's me that's changed, who knows. I don't really I'm absolutely always polite and nice to people that are nice to me, you know, like most people, but sometimes they can just start grating on you a bit more than they used to, if you know what I mean. I'm not even 40 till next year, and I sound like an old codger, don't I? But yeah, I'm all on my own now in the barn, so big family at home. We've got 5 kids, and obviously my wife works full time, so we've got a busy old lifestyle, and this is kind of my solace as well as my job, I think, to come up here and kind of be on my own and have that time to myself without being around people, especially customers. So this is starting to really take shape now. I think you can probably see it from that angle. Hopefully it doesn't look awful from that angle, because I think we're nearly there. And then when it's all done, in terms of the edges, the sides, the main section, what I do is go around with a really light brush, a really light amount of wood stain on the brush, just to go over once more, and make sure I'm completely happy with the product, basically, because obviously this is going to a customer's house and it's going to be up for many years, so it needs to look right. So no drips, all going with the grain, and all with an even coverage as well. It's really important. So like when you're painting your fence, you can throw that on really, making sure there's no drips, but when it's going in a customer's house or barn, or some big burly guy's man cave, it needs to be right. And obviously every product I'll ask for a review on as well, which is why I've got over 1,500 reviews now. No, not 1,500, about 1,400 I think it is, reviews. And yeah, 4.9 stars out of 5, so it's not too bad, is it, for the amount of sales I've had. There's over 3,000 sales on Etsy now as well, so yeah, getting there. Right, cool, this is looking... I'm just going to give it a little bit more in the middle section. And I know the dartboards are going to cover it, the majority of it, but obviously when the customer first gets the backboard, they won't see the dartboard on there at all. So that it needs to be even all the way through, even though the dartboard's covering the vast majority of the middle section, sorry. you know, and first impressions with things like this are absolutely key. You're not going to put it on your wall unless you're absolutely 100% happy with it, are you? Okay, so obviously coming to the end of the project now. Like I said before, if you could give us a subscribe, if you're watching this for the first time and you're not subscribed, that'd be amazing. Obviously all helps towards me growing the channel. And yeah, like I said as well, please do comment about any future projects you want me to do, or anything you see on my Etsy shop at Oliver's Woodcraft Shop on Etsy. Just give us a shout if you want me to show you how I do the builds and what my process is. If you want to tour of the barn at any point, anything like that, I can do that. Anything for good content, really. So yeah, I think, just get in that corner again. I think I'm happy with that now. Just going to let that dry now, and then give that a day. Well, it's dry within an hour. It's actually dry within an hour. So once that's dry, I'll be able to see if there's any more touching up that needs doing. But I'll give it a full day before I send it, because obviously it needs wrapping and all the rest of it. So yeah, anyway, this is the rustic dartboard backboard, ready for any home, barn, office, whatever, pub, etc, etc. So yeah, happy days. Hope you enjoyed the build, and like I said, please do like, comment, subscribe, give me some feedback, much appreciated. Anyway, for now, I'm done, so I'll see you on my next build. Thanks, guys.